Have you ever felt that there is a daily battle going on in your head? A constant stream of thoughts. I'm not good enough, smart enough, can't do that. I'm too old, I'm not worthy of that. I will never find my soulmate. We think approximately 60,000 thoughts every single day. 95% of those thoughts are repetitive, meaning they are the same as the thoughts that we had yesterday. And 80% of those thoughts are negative. In today's video, we're going to cover the topic of limiting beliefs. Those beliefs that hold us back, and just to reassure you, we all have them. The beliefs that hold us back from living the life that we imagine in our mind. It is my greatest desire to help you live the life that you've always dreamed of. I am absolutely passionate about psychology and mindset, and I make these videos to inspire and motivate you to live the life of your dreams. So welcome to our growing community. It is my absolute pleasure to bring you this video today. So in the first part of the video, I'm going to explain what are limiting beliefs. Then we're going to move on to understanding where they actually come from. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey with limiting beliefs. I'm also going to tell you a little bit about how our brains work, if you're interested in the science. And then I'm going to give you a 5-step process on how you can start to become aware of your limiting beliefs and how to overcome them so that you can actually create the life that you've always wanted for yourself. For many, many years, I thought there was something wrong with me because I had these limiting beliefs about myself. I assumed that every single thought that I had was actually true. So when I would hear in my mind that I couldn't do something, if that thought was there, then I would take it as the truth. Why else would that thought be there? But over many, many years, I came to understand that actually we pick up these thoughts and this conditioning along the way. And although it's not our fault that we have these limited beliefs, it is ultimately our responsibility to do the work to change them. So let me help you do this, because the sooner we can understand what our limiting beliefs are, the sooner we can do the work to change them and ultimately change our entire lives. So now let's move on to limiting beliefs. How are they formed and what are they? So a belief is formed when a thought is repeated in our mind over and over and over again. Let me give you an example. If you were told as a child that you would never be good at maths, and you were told that repeatedly, you will then develop a belief that you are not very good at maths. And I think that's actually a belief that most of us have, that we're not great at maths. Now, when that belief limits us in some way and hinders us in achieving our life goals and what we really want to accomplish in terms of love, relationships, friendships, finances, we then call them limiting beliefs because they limit us in some way. Now, you can have beliefs that are empowering, and this is what we're going to focus on today. So where do these limiting beliefs actually come from? I was under the impression for many years that we just pick them up somewhere along our lives, and once they're there, we are unable to change them. This is actually not true. They generally come from 4 different places, and let me know in the comments if you can relate to any of these places. So the first one is from past experiences. Let me give you an example for each one. Let's say you perform badly at school for whatever reason. You will then develop a belief that you are not good at learning because of that past experience that you had at school. We can also pick them up from our upbringing, from our childhood experiences. Coming back to my own experiences, and I really want to be honest and vulnerable with every single one of you about my upbringing, and it was a difficult upbringing. The people in my surrounding did the best that they could. One of the things that was drilled into me at a very young age is, that I wasn't very intelligent. And that really, really stayed with me for many, many, many years. And this is why I didn't go to university until I overcame that belief. And it took me a long time. So I started university at the age of 37. So when we grow up in a family where perhaps the people around us are not able, through no fault of their own, to give us the support and the love that we need to grow into empowered adults, we then accumulate a set of limiting beliefs from that childhood experience. We can also pick up limiting beliefs from societal norms. How many people have the belief that you should be married by a certain age, have children by a certain age, buy a house by a certain age? Why? Because this is what society tells us. And past failures. So failing at something, for example, again, let's come back to maths. And this can lead to a belief that we're incapable of doing it in the future. So again, I made a video a few years ago about how I sat maths GCSE, I self-studied that and I got an A. But I always had this limiting belief that I was really bad at maths. Let me just give you some examples of limiting beliefs. So typically we hear things like, I'm just not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I won't be able to do that. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I'm not worthy of love. I'm unlovable. I suck at that. I'm not good at maths. The list goes on. But once again, just to reassure you at this point, if you have, and you will have these limiting beliefs, we all do, there is nothing wrong with you. You are not damaged. You have simply picked up some beliefs that do not serve you along your journey. And that's okay, because we're going to tackle it together today. And I'm going to help you to understand how to get rid of them. So there is nothing wrong with you. And I wish somebody would have told me this many years ago. The next thing to understand is, how do these limiting beliefs hold us back? Our thoughts will always dictate how we see ourselves and how we see the world around us. So if we have a dream, like many of you do watching, because I read your comments and thank you for sending those through. If you have a dream that you would really like to go to medical school, but you have this limiting belief that essentially tells you that you will never, ever be able to get into medical school because you're not smart enough, realistically, how much action will you take in getting into medical school? Either none or very little. And that is not because you don't have the ability to get into medical school. It's because you don't think that you can. If you're looking for love and you go on a dating website and you feel within yourself that you are not worthy of love, then you will either not put yourself out there out of fear of rejection, or you will aim for perhaps somebody that is not in line with what you're actually looking for or in line with your values because you don't think that you're worthy of it. Can you see how these beliefs can hinder you from taking action? Or you will still move forward in taking action, but with very minimal effort. Again, I will give you an example because I think if I can tell you from a place of authenticity and just pure honesty, just how much I have struggled with these limiting beliefs over the years, I hope that it shows you that you can become aware of them and overcome them at any age. So I was brought up in children's homes for 4 years and I left care when I was 18 years old. And I had some very set beliefs back then. The main belief that I had was that I was worthless. And the other very strong belief that I had was that I was unlovable. And I didn't even feel at some points in my life that I even deserved to breathe the air on this planet. This is how low my self-esteem was for many years. Therefore, I always kept myself small, and it just kept me stuck in this loop of unfulfilling relationships or unfulfilling jobs until I watched a video when I was around 34 years old on impact theory with Olympia Lepoint, who is a rocket scientist. She talked about neuroplasticity, meaning that we can change our thoughts and we can change our brains at any age. And I always was under the impression that once you become an adult, then it's pretty much game over. The thoughts that we have cannot be changed. But when I was watching this video, I started to become aware that I could actually, first of all, become aware of my thoughts and then perhaps replace them with more empowering thoughts about myself and the world around me. And that then opened this entire new chapter in my life, where I went on to study my GCSEs at 35. I completed an access course at 36 and started medicine at 37. 2 seconds. This is the exact 5-step process that I followed. And I wish somebody would have told me about this process years ago. I would have saved myself probably 20 years of living an unfulfilled life. So I'm going to tell you this process, and I urge you to sit down and go through these steps, because I promise you, if you are consistent and if you are willing to do the work and commit to this, because it won't happen overnight, it does take a little bit of time, commitment, and discipline. I promise you, it will change your entire life. Change happens when we change our thoughts. Nothing in our environment has to change in order for us to change our life. And I find that amazing. We just have to change our thoughts and the way that we see the world and ourselves. So first step is awareness. How do we first become aware of what our limiting beliefs are? So I always used to feel stuck. That was just the general feeling. I just feel stuck. I can't quite put my finger on why I can't get myself to lose weight, or I can't quite get myself to apply to go to university, or to ask this man out that I actually, find interesting and attractive. There's just something within me that I can't quite pinpoint, but it's keeping me stuck in this loop, and I'm getting really frustrated with it. So if you're in the same position, don't worry, I've got you covered. So we need to become aware of this. And the way to become aware of it is, if you think about some of the things that you would really like to have or create in this lifetime, and notice in the moment when you start to imagine what you would like to create, the thoughts that come up in that moment are your limiting beliefs. So first step is an exercise that you can all do. And I would really recommend that you do this when you are in a quiet place, when you will not be disturbed. And I want you to go all out. So just go all out with what you want to create without paying attention right now to any fears, doubts, and worries that may come up. So on a piece of paper, write down what you would really like to manifest or create in this lifetime. You might write down, I would like to become a doctor. I would like to become a nurse. I would like to get married. I would like to go to Bora Bora for 2 weeks on holiday. I would actually like to go to Bora Bora on a 2-week holiday. That is one of my dreams. I digress. So write down everything that you would like to create. When you're writing the thing that you would like to create, I want you to start paying attention to what comes up in your mind. So if you're about to write, I would like to become a doctor, what is the first thing that then follows? Is it concerns about money? Is it concerns about being smart enough? Is it a concern about being the oldest person in your year group? What comes up for you? Write everything down. This is gold, because once you become aware of what your limiting thoughts are, then we can move on to step 2. We need to understand where these thoughts came from. So we need to get curious about how we picked up these beliefs. Was it on Instagram? Was it from your family? Was it from a friendship group? Was it from a book that you read? So we need to understand where these beliefs came from. So the majority of my limiting beliefs came from my childhood. And you may also find that if, like myself, you had a bit of a difficult time growing up, most of your limiting beliefs will come from things you were told as a child or as an adolescent. Now, I really want to say at this point, if you find this exercise too triggering, then it's okay to ask for help. You may want to seek the help of a therapist or a doctor, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, whatever resonates with you. But it may bring up some feelings that you are perhaps finding too uncomfortable to deal with right now. And that's okay. Step number 3. This is the exciting part. Now we're going to start looking for evidence that contradicts your beliefs. Let's take the example of I'm just not good at learning. I'm rubbish at maths. I've always been rubbish at maths. And you know what? I will always be rubbish at simultaneous equations. I don't know why 99.9% of the population think that they're rubbish at maths when it's actually not true. So I'm curious to find out, where does this belief actually come from? Well, we can start to think and reflect on all of the times in our lives that we've actually been quite good at learning something. It doesn't have to necessarily be maths. It can just be, when I was 16 or 17, I learned French. There you go. First bit of proof that contradicts the limiting belief that you're not really good at learning. Maybe when you were a little bit older, you learned how to touch type, and then you learned guitar, whatever that may be for you. Think about all of the events and all of the things that you've done up until now that contradict your limiting beliefs. So I will give you another example from my own life to help us to put it into perspective. But one of the main beliefs that I had for many years is that I was cold. I was just not a very warm and open person. I was just unloving. That was the main kind of limiting belief. Then I had to find things that I had done in my life that would contradict that assumption or that belief. So I thought back to the time where I did some volunteering in Ghana in an orphanage for 5 weeks. I thought about the times where I had made banana bread for some friends. I thought about the time where I had just done things from a place of unconditional love without asking for anything in return. There were many situations that would help me to contradict this limiting belief. And over time, I was able to actually eradicate that belief. And it feels very, very liberating when you get to that point. So let's keep going. Challenging your beliefs as and when they come up each day. Now, please be patient with yourselves. As I've mentioned before, I will give you the tools, but this can take time. It can take weeks, months, and even years, depending on how ingrained these beliefs are in your subconscious mind. The first way is when they come up, I ignore them completely. Or the second way is I find a new empowering belief rather than sticking with this limiting belief. So if I ignore them, I'll just dissociate completely and then just carry on with the task at hand. But if I'm looking to find a new empowering belief, then I will think about the exact opposite. If your limiting belief is, I am too old to go to university, then a new empowering belief is, I am the perfect age to start a university course. I'm worthless. I deserve to be here. I will never amount to anything in this lifetime. I have so many opportunities to look forward to every single day, and I am worthy of exploring and experiencing every single opportunity that comes my way. I do not deserve a loving relationship because I am just unlovable. I deserve to be loved for who I am, and the right relationship will find me when the time is right. So we take a belief and then we think about the complete opposite. So again, you can just take a piece of paper, write down again all of your limiting beliefs, and write down a more empowering belief. This takes time. So every single time you feel a belief that now you're aware of that comes up, your homework is to challenge that. And it feels very empowering to do so. It takes a lot of work. And you remember what I said at the beginning, every single day we think 60,000 thoughts, most of which are negative. It takes a lot of effort, but over time, this process becomes automatic. Now, when I have a negative thought, I either just ignore or challenge, and I have kind of a whole range of empowering thoughts that I can just, throw at this limiting belief, and it's just automatic now. Give it time, be patient, and I promise you, it will absolutely change how you view yourself and the world around you. And then step 5, and this is an add-on exercise that I would recommend to every single person watching, and this is something that I do every night before going to bed, is I listen to affirmations. So affirmations are empowering beliefs about ourselves that when we listen to in a relaxed state, will go directly into our subconscious mind. And remember, our limiting beliefs live in our subconscious mind. So I will link some really useful YouTube videos in the description box below. Please feel free to go and explore and just listen to a few to see which ones resonate with you. And I would really encourage you every single night before bed, reprogram your mind with some loving affirmations. I will also make some videos over the next few weeks with my own affirmations that I will upload onto this channel. And just to recap what I said at the beginning, we can sometimes feel that there is something wrong with us, or that we are simply damaged because our inability sometimes to think positive thoughts. Think about your brain and your mind like a muscle in your body. You have to train your brain to think a certain way, just like you would if you wanted to develop your biceps or your quads, for example. And this can take time. So it's really important just to re-emphasize that this process takes patience, it takes discipline and consistency, but I promise you, this will change your entire life. I receive hundreds of comments and emails from viewers all around the world, and I can't thank you enough for those, but it makes me really sad to see so many of you stuck. And there is nothing in your environment that needs to change. There is nothing with yourself that needs to change. The only thing that may need a little bit of work, and I do this work every single day, is we need to just train our brain to think in a certain way. We need to make our brains and our minds work for us. Otherwise, our mind has the ability to keep us stuck. And I'll go one step further. It has the ability to ruin and sabotage any success that we may have otherwise. Please don't let that be you. Life is too short, and I promise you that you are so worthy of living a life that you have always dreamed of. And if I can go from, those really difficult experiences growing up to now living the life that I've always dreamed of, then it is also possible. Thank you very, very much for watching, and let me know what you think about this video in the comments below. If you would like some help with anything else, then please feel free to leave some suggestions in the comments below as well. But thank you very, very much for being here. I'm so excited to grow this community, and this is a safe space for you to come, share your ideas, your dreams. We will support each other on our journeys. So I will see you very, very soon. Take care.